So we're continuing on. They went back and got the brass plates, and now they're continuing their journey to the promised land.
And now I, Nephi, do not give the genealogy of my fathers in this part of my record. Neither at any time shall I give it after upon these plates which I am writing. For it is given in the record which has been kept by my father. Wherefore I do not write in it in this work.
So what were the 3 sets of records they had? Well, technically 4.
The small plates.
Small plates.
The large plates.
Large plates.
The brass plates.
Brass plates.
And Beehive plates.
And Lehi's record. Very good. That's what it just said, yeah. So, and it had the genealogy of his fathers. So there was 4 records that they had going. Verse 2.
Beehive, brass plates.
Large plates, small plates.
Large plates, small plates, and Nephi, yeah. Verse 2. Kevin.
For it suffices me to say that we are descendants of Joseph.
And who was Joseph a descendant of?
Abraham,
Abraham,
Isaac, and Jacob.
and then Joseph was one of what?
The 10 tribes of Israel.
12 tribes of Israel.
12 tribes of Israel.
Wait, didn't they sell into Egypt?
They did. Those jealous brothers did.
Evil brothers.
And he had 2 sons named Ephraim and Manasseh, who later became tribes of Israel. And Lehi and his family were descendants of that Joseph.
So Jacob, and then he got renamed Israel.
So Jacob
and Israel are the same person.
And it mattereth not to me that I am particular to give a full account of all the things of my father, for they cannot be written upon these plates. For I desire the room that I may write of the things of God.
For the fullness of mine intent is that I may persuade men to come unto the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and be saved.
Verse 5.
Wherefore the things which are pleasing unto the world I do not write, but the things which are pleasing unto God, and unto those who are not of the world.
And 6.
Wherefore I shall give commandment unto my seed, that they shall not occupy these plates, which with things which are not of worth unto the children of men.
What was the difference between Nephi's small plates and large plates?
Small plates are for spiritual stuff.
Large plates are called plates.
Okay, just general history, right?
I said 4.
So when he says these plates are for teaching people about God and his commandments, is he referring to his small plates or his large plates?
Large plates.
Teaching
Small
about
plates.
God, the spiritual things.
Small plates.
So these are his small plates, which have
Well,
the
isn't
gospel
that,
stuff on.
wait, I was about to say, isn't that both of the one small plate?
No, actually most of it is a summary of his large plates that got passed down from each
Yeah,
generation.
then I was about to say, wait, no. It has the small plate and the large plate.
Yeah, most of the
Then
Book
what's in
of
the
Mormon.
the Old Testament and the New Testament?
Yeah, so the Bible is teachings of prophets in Israel. The Book of Mormon is teaching of prophets who lived
Who
here
left
in the
Jerusalem and came to the Americas.
Right. So the Bible contains the history of the people in Israel, and the Book of Mormon the history of the people here in the
So
Americas.
both books are like 2. Because this one, small plate and large plate.
Actually, this has a whole bunch of parts. Small plates, large plates, Book of Ether, plates of brass.
Yeah, remember we read about that in the intro?
And the Bible also is actually a whole bunch of parts, because the Old Testament is cut up into a bunch of different books. The New Testament is a bunch of different books. So they both contain a lot of different books, all put together in one. All right, chapter 7. And now I would that ye might know that after my father Lehi had made an end of prophesying concerning his seed, or his descendants, what would happen in the future, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto him again, saying that it was not meet for him, Lehi, that he should take his family into the wilderness alone, but that his sons should take daughters to wife, that they might raise up seed unto the Lord in the land of promise. So what did Laban, Lemuel, Nephi, and Sam need to have if they were going to come to the Americas? Yeah, they needed to have their own families, right? So, but they're in the wilderness. So how is this supposed to
How are
work?
they supposed to find wives?
I know.
Yeah, verse 2.
And it came to pass that the Lord commanded him that I, Nephi, and my brethren should again return unto the land of Jerusalem.
What? Again?
And bring down Ishmael and his family into the wilderness. So they got sent back to get the plates. They came back, and remember, Sariah was like all worried about them.
But now she might not be worried. Because like, she knew what happened.
Yeah, her faith really grew after that,
Yeah.
so she's probably more open to it. But they gotta make this trip again.
They have to go again, and it's not a short trip.
Do you think they're a little more motivated though this time?
Yeah.
Probably.
We're gonna get a wife.
Yeah, they're probably a little more open to it this time. And it says, I, Nephi, did again with my brother go forth. I don't hear a lot of complaining from Laman and Lemuel on this one though. Yeah.
Haley, 3.
And it came to pass that I, Nephi, did again with my brethren go forth into the wilderness to go up to Jerusalem.
Does it say there was a lot of murmuring going on this time?
Yeah.
There could have been, but maybe they had a little less this time.
So maybe
They
that's
got a little more motivation. We're gonna go get a wife.
Why do you guys think the Lord did it this way? Why did he take them out of Jerusalem, send them back to get the plates, they come back, send them back to get the daughters of Ishmael? How come he didn't let them get married first, get the plates first, and then leave Jerusalem? Why?
Like,
So they
we had to talk to
so they
Ishmael.
could grow their faith.
Good, yeah, but they kind of grow from the experience in a way. Because I mean, they had some pretty spiritual experiences by needing to do this, right? That they wouldn't have had.
So
Otherwise.
another reason
It's
why
like a
I said,
test of their faith.
another reason why I
It's
said,
like, okay.
another reason I said it's growing their faith is because like when Sariah was murmuring too, but then when they came back, she was like,
Her faith grew from that,
Yeah.
right? And are there going to be other challenges and hardships they're going to have to face on their journey?
probably.
Probably. And to Evan's point, that it's kind of making them stronger. Maybe this was helping them be prepared for later difficulties and trials that they might have. But I think it shows that the Lord has his reasons for doing these things. Even though we might not understand, it shows we should still trust in the Lord. And did Lehi, even though it didn't make sense to him, did he trust in theOrd?
Yep.
Did Nephi, it might not have made sense to him, but did he trust in the Lord?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lesson there for us.
And it came to pass that we went up into the house of Ishmael, and we did gain favor in the sight of Ishmael, insomuch that we did speak unto him the words of the Lord.
Ah, so whose house did they go to?
Ishmael.
Ishmael. And was Ishmael open to their visit?
Yeah.
Was he happy to see him?
Yeah.
He was. Verse 5, and it came to pass that the Lord did soften the heart of Ishmael, and also his household, insomuch that they took their journey with us down into the wilderness to the tent of our father. My guess is Ishmael was probably a man of faith also, right? He probably knew Lehi, that's my guess.
Father was preparing him
Right.
so that he would be, or when he would go.
And when his son said, hey, my father had a vision, and Jerusalem is going to be destroyed, he has saved us by helping us to escape. And you guys can be saved too from the destruction that's coming if you stay with us. And the Lord has told us to come here. So I think the Spirit was touching Ishmael's heart that their message was true and that they and his household should leave. Verse 6.
And it came to pass that as we journeyed in the wilderness, behold, Laman and Lemuel, and 2 of the daughters of Ishmael, and the 2 sons of Ishmael and their families, did rebel against us. Yea, against me, Nephi, and Sam, and their father Ishmael, and his wife, and his 3 other daughters.
Haley.
And it came to pass in the which rebellion they were desirous to return to the land of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
How surprising for Laman and Lemuel.
Right. Verse 8. True to form.
And now I Nephi being grieved for the hardness of their hearts. Therefore I spake unto them, saying, Yea, even unto Laman, and unto Lemuel, behold, ye are mine elder brother. And how is it that ye are so hard in your hearts, and so blind in your minds, that ye have need that I, your younger brother, should speak unto you, and set an example for you?
Yea, how is it that ye have not hearkened unto the word of the Lord?
How is it that ye have forgotten that ye have seen an angel of the Lord?
Yea, and how is it that ye have forgotten what great things the Lord hath done for us in delivering us out of the hands of Laman, and also that we should obtain the
things.
He has to keep reminding them.
Of all the
He
blessings
shouldn't,
that they've been
Yeah.
given.
But I don't think they pray, perhaps, or
It says they,
study
it
this,
says they
you know,
never prayed. Yeah.
study the scriptures. So if you don't do that, you're not reminded of the goodness of the Lord.
And their hearts were set on worldly things, right?
Yeah.
They wanted their comfortable home. They wanted, the city they grew up in, right? They wanted these worldly things. And by focusing on worldly things, what did they often forget? The spiritual things, yeah.
Yeah, and how is it that ye have forgotten that the Lord is able to do all things according to his will, and the children of men, if it shall be that they exercise faith in him, therefore let us be faithful to him.
And if it so be that we are faithful to him, we shall obtain the land of promise. And ye shall know at some future period that the word of the Lord shall be fulfilled concerning the destruction of Jerusalem. For all things which the Lord hath spoken concerning the destruction of Jerusalem must be fulfilled. And so he was like, you guys should not go back to this city.
Oh, you're dead.
This city is going to be destroyed. Don't go back.
For behold, the Spirit of the Lord ceaseth soon to strive with them. For behold, they have rejected the prophets, and Jeremiah have they cast into prison. And they have sought to take away the life of my father, insomuch that they have driven him out of the land.
So the Spirit's not going to work with them anymore because they rejected the prophets.
Now behold, I say to you, that if ye will return to Jerusalem, ye shall also perish with them. And now if ye have choice and go up to the land, and remember the words which I speak unto you, that if ye go, ye will also perish. For thus the Spirit of the Lord constraineth thee that I should speak.
And I think there's a lesson here for us, guys, in terms of worldly things, right? They wanted to go back into the worldly things and get away from what? The spiritual things, because it just seemed harder to do spiritual things. But what would be the end for them if they went back to worldly things?
Destruction.
And what is that lesson for us in terms of what we pursue in life?
And that's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard, sometimes you want to just sit and veg out in front of the TV and not just scriptures, I mean like any commandment.
Right.
Maybe like getting baptized?
Like, I remember when I first joined the church, like it was hard, like on Sundays, Abuelita and I, we would like go out shopping, we didn't before I joined the church, we drank coffee and stuff. But I'm like, so, yeah, and then, we had to change those things. I mean, and like, one of the hard things for me was like not, like Sunday, like that was like a hard thing for me at first, like going to church for, back then it was 3 hours on Sunday. That was like a tough one for me, where like for Abuelita, like the hard thing was not drinking coffee anymore. So
Isn't
it was
it hard for people to stop drinking alcohol?
Yeah, but with faith and with effort and support, they can do it. And it shows that if we choose spiritual things, we can be saved. But if we choose worldly things, we won't be saved, we won't be spared. And after this life, we won't get to live with God again. If we're choosing worldly things, right? Then we will be separated from God instead of saved with God. So this shows that if we choose worldly things, it leads to destruction. But if we choose spiritual things, even though it's hard, it can lead to being saved. And I think that's really special. So Laban and Lemuel, I'm sure, their hearts were softened. They gave Nephi a big hug and said, "You're right, bro. You're right, bro."
Let's see what actually
Let's see what
happened.
actually happened. 16.
It came to pass when I, Nephi, had spoken these words to my brethren, they were angry with me.
Shocker.
So shocking. I'm so surprised.
Right.
Plot twist. And it came to pass that they did lay their hands upon me, for behold, they were exceedingly wroth, and they did bind me with cords, for they sought to take away my life, that they might leave me in the wilderness to be devoured by wild beasts.
So they wanted to what?
Kill him.
They wanted to kill him. They were going to tie him up, leave him on the ground so he couldn't move, and leave him alone to be eaten.
To be eaten by the beasts.
Wow. 17, but it came to pass that I prayed unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, according to my faith which is in thee, wilt thou deliver me from the hands of my brethren? Yea, even give me strength that I may burst these bands with which I am bound. So when he was scared, when he was afraid, what did Nephi do?
He prayed.
He prayed. And there were the whole group of people. Yeah, Ishmael and his family there, all
And
of
if
Ishmael's daughters. This was like a whole group of people.
And at
Like
this
in a
time
caravan.
at this time it says that the Laman and Lemuel, two of
Right.
the daughters of Ishmael,
Two of the
and two of the
sons.
sons, so 6 people
Right.
were like murmuring.
Yeah, this was a big deal. Like this was a lot of chaos going on.
Yeah.
Um,
So he prayed, so 18. And it came to pass that when I had said these words, behold, the bands were loosed from off my hands and feet, and I stood before my brethren, and I spake unto them again.
again, so
So
did
he
Nephi
just,
stop standing up for what was right?
Yes. Nope. Yes.
Did he stop
standing up for what was right.
Let me rephrase that. Did he stand up for what was right, Haley? Yes,
Yeah,
he did.
I thought that's what I thought you said.
I mean, that's pretty courageous, right? Even though that all this is going on, he's still standing up for what he believes is right.
Like and he was there, and when he was there, he's like, oh my gosh, Heavenly Father, you know, like was
I'm
he?
stuck here forever.
Yeah, he wasn't complaining.
And it came to pass that they were angry with me again and sought to lay hands upon me.
Like, oh, you got out of it this time, but watch, this time you won't get out of it.
We'll tie your hands to your feet.
And they went to grab him again.
But behold, one of the daughters of Ishmael, yea, and also her mother, and one of the sons of Ishmael did plead with my brethren, insomuch that they did soften their hearts, and they did cease striving to take away my life.
So
I thought it
Ishmael
said
had
and
7 kids.
Those are just the ones mentioned here, but it shows
Well, it
that.
says 2 daughters of Ishmael, 2 sons, so that's 4.
So
And
one
their
of
father
them,
Ishmael, his wife, and his 3 other daughters. So he had 7 kids,
yeah.
2 of which were.
So one of these guys was on Laman and Lemuel's side, but when they saw how crazy Laman and Lemuel were
Well,
getting,
One was like,
they
nope.
were like, well, I don't want to be any part of this. Look, guys, stop. This is getting out of hand. And that was probably a big part of what
And-
shifted the
It must
situation
have
too.
Yeah, and also because it also says here also the mother,
Right.
because it seems like
Mother.
the mother of the wife of Ishmael, or
So-
wherever he was tied.
Was it the men or the women who were making things better in this situation?
Both.
Both, right? So it shows in order to be successful, do we just want the guys? Do we just want the gals? Or do we want
We want
everyone involved, right?
Everybody.
Doing it.
And it came to pass that they were sorrowful because of their wickedness, insomuch that they did bow down before me and did appeal to me that I would forgive them for the thing that they had done against me.
Wow, so they went from trying to kill him to what?
Begging for
Begging for
forgiveness.
Begging for forgiveness, right? So they clearly felt really bad when reality sunk in, like, oh my gosh, what are we doing to our brother? You know?
But
And
what?
it came to pass that I did frankly forgive them. Wow.
Frankly,
Just
Like
didn't
truly,
hesitate. And just right there.
it wasn't like, okay, yeah.
What if-
It was like he really meant it.
But don't you remember they were also trying to take away Beehive's life?
Right.
Wait,
But in
that
this
was in the
moment,
future.
even though they had done these terrible things, when they asked for forgiveness, what did he think?
okay,
Did he say, I need time
to think about
to
it.
think about it, or did he just forgive him?
You just forgave
He
them.
just forgave him.
He had, maybe not Nephi.
Nephi.
Nephi's a way better person.
Yeah, he set a good example for us. I did frankly forgive them all that they had done, and I did exhort them that they would pray unto the Lord their God for forgiveness. He's like, it's good you're asking me to forgive you, but you also need to ask the Lord to forgive you because you're rebelling against him. And it came to pass that they did so. And after they had done praying unto the Lord, we did again travel on our journey towards the tent of our father. So at this point in the story, even though we see how upset Laman and Lemuel can get and some of their anger management problems, we are also seeing they still had some faith, right? They still prayed, they still felt bad, they still had a good side to them, right? Where they still wanted to do good.
95% good side, 95% bad side.
Well, yeah, so you would hope that over time they would become more good and less bad, but
10% and 9.
we'll kind of see how that plays out. In last verse 22.
And it came to pass that we did come down unto the tent of our father. And after I and my brethren and all the house of Ishmael had come down unto the tent of my father, they did give thanks unto the Lord their God, and they did offer sacrifice and burnt offerings unto him.
Yeah. You can do it now, but we're all done, Alyssa. That was
Hit
it.
that comment, comment section, and give us a huge thumbs up.